Show of hands if you stayed up until midnight waiting for Blake Lively to drop this freaking amendment.
There's a reason why conservatives in particular are following this so closely. It makes sense to me.
The sources ain't adding up. Her sources saying one thing, Taylor Swift's sources saying another thing.
The cross-fighting here in the legal documents is absolutely insane.
What started as a hidden disagreement on the set of It Ends With Us has now exploded into one of the most controversial Hollywood legal battles. Actress Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are embroiled in dueling lawsuits that include allegations of misconduct, media manipulation, and even behind-the-scenes intimidation. The plot only thickens as conservative commentator CANDACE Owens enters the fray, claiming she's uncovered a staggering number of lies on Lively's side. For months, gossip channels and mainstream entertainment outlets have been dissecting every new development. Despite the constant coverage, there's still confusion about who's telling the truth. Is Blake truly fighting for the safety of film sets, or just pushing a narrative that some are calling a desperate attempt to discredit Justin Baldoni? And what role does Ryan Reynolds play in all this, especially after that suspicious joke on Saturday Night Live? This lawsuit is a maze of contradictions, sealed court documents, and cryptic social media clues. We'll explore everything from the initial clash on set to the judge's recent rulings. Most importantly, revealing what CANDACE Owens says is the heart of a massive attempt to twist public perception. The stakes have become high, and people might be implicated if the truth comes out. The trouble allegedly began during the production of It Ends With Us, an adaptation of a best-selling novel. Initially, fans were thrilled. Blake Lively was cast in a leading role, and Justin Baldoni, who was also set to star, came on board as a producer. Early press coverage painted a rosy picture. Everyone seemed delighted to bring a beloved story to life, but beneath that polished exterior, tensions brewed. Blake Lively started voicing concerns about the working environment, telling colleagues she felt uncomfortable with certain scenes and interactions, even claiming there were serious HR problems on set that the production team, including Baldoni, either ignored or downplayed. At first, these issues barely made a blip on the media radar. Hollywood sets can be stressful, and conflicts often arise in the push to meet deadlines. But the rumor mill kicked into high gear after one particularly tense shooting day, when Blake left in a hurry. Then came the bombshell. In an initial legal filing, Lively accused Baldoni and his associates of fostering a toxic atmosphere. She pointed to moments where she felt cornered into shooting scenes with minimal clothing or forced intimacy without the proper protocols in place. Social media exploded. Was this another example of a powerful actress finally speaking up against industry wrongs? Or was it a case of oversensitivity and miscommunication? But that was just the start. Before the story could get too big, Baldoni's legal team fired back with a lawsuit of their own, calling Blake's version of events sensationalized and devoid of actual evidence. The public found itself split. Some sided with Blake, applauding her bravery for calling out misconduct. Others felt her allegations were strangely vague. Little did anyone know that the controversy was about to soar to an entirely new level. And soon, it wouldn't just be Blake and Justin exchanging blows. As if the case wasn't already divisive enough, conservative commentator CANDACE Owens decided to weigh in. Known for her provocative style and willingness to confront Hollywood head-on, Owens publicly questioned Blake Lively's story. She claimed that after reviewing key parts of the legal documents, she found an unbelievable number of inconsistencies. According to Owens, these supposed gaps in Lively's complaints weren't minor details. They struck at the heart of Blake's credibility. Owens then took aim at the social media spin. She argued that Blake's team was leaking information to bloggers and entertainment outlets, crafting a one-sided narrative to gin up sympathy. At the same time, Owens insisted that Baldoni's side possessed a paper trail of text messages and emails that could dismantle Lively's version of events. Whether you love or hate CANDACE Owens, she has a knack for injecting herself into cultural firestorms and amplifying them. Within days, hashtags like Blake Lively Lies started trending. What made the situation even more explosive was that Owens took a direct swipe at the Hollywood PR machine. She accused Lively's publicity team of orchestrating a smear campaign against Baldoni, complete with strategic teaser leaks about upcoming legal motions. Owens' critique put even more heat on Blake. If these claims of media manipulation were true, then everything from Lively's heartfelt Instagram posts to her official court documents might be suspect. Suddenly, the drama was no longer just about a conflict on a movie set. It was about who could harness public sympathy the fastest and loudest, something Owens insisted was overshadowing the actual facts of the case. But that wasn't all. Owens also questioned the sincerity of Lively's activism and protective stances on set. Blake has long been vocal about women's empowerment in the entertainment industry. In Owens' view, this entire lawsuit could be tarnishing a legitimate movement against workplace misconduct. She argued that if Lively's claims proved exaggerated, real survivors might find it harder to come forward. Blake's supporters were quick to snap back, saying Owens was dismissing a woman's lived experience. But the seeds of doubt were planted, and soon the spotlight swung to the actual courtroom, where both sides would be forced to present more than just talk. While social media outrage can sway public opinion, the real test lies in court. Over the past few months, both sides have filed thick stacks of motions, each trying to outmaneuver the other legally. Blake's legal team submitted a lengthy complaint detailing her grievances, scenes where she felt exposed in front of large crews, claims of harassment, and allegations that Baldoni and his associates ignored her repeated requests for professional boundaries. It was a scathing narrative, depicting her as a lone voice against a powerful Hollywood producer. Baldoni's attorneys responded, claiming that many of Blake's allegations were hearsay. They also insisted that official call sheets, production logs, and text messages showed she was never forced into any situation without consent. When the judge arrived slapping down parts of Lively's complaint for lacking substantial evidence, several allegations didn't hold up under scrutiny. Critics began asking, if Blake's claims were legitimate, why were chunks of them being tossed out in court? To make matters worse, Lively's team took the aggressive step of issuing multiple subpoenas, some of which targeted third parties only loosely connected to the dispute. Almost immediately, Baldoni's lawyers filed motions to quash those subpoenas, suggesting they were meant more to harass than to gather relevant evidence. Legal analysts pointed out that this strategy could backfire by making Lively appear desperate. If her case was truly robust, why was she resorting to sweeping subpoenas that bordered on fishing expeditions? Lawyers on both sides debated the definition of a toxic work environment, responsibilities of producers toward cast members, and the difference between discomfort and genuine harassment. Every new hearing brought fresh revelations. Some observers began to wonder if the entire dispute boiled down to a clash of egos, while others believed it signaled a bigger issue with Hollywood's sometimes murky standards around intimacy and safety on set. Even so, the judge's measured skepticism toward Blake's more extreme claims became a talking point. Some fans insisted the court was ignoring a woman's cry for help. Others argued it proved CANDACE Owens' point, that the lawsuit might be propped up by exaggerations instead of rock-solid proof. And just when you thought things couldn't get any more complicated, Saturday Night Live stepped in, sort of. You'd think Blake and Ryan Reynolds would steer clear of jokes about legal disputes, especially ones so close to home. But during a special SNL event, Ryan made a quip that many interpreted as a direct reference to the Baldoni lawsuit. To the casual viewer, it might have seemed harmless, just another comedic jab on a late-night show. But online commentators wasted no time dissecting the moment, pointing out that it felt strangely targeted. Lip readers claimed that Amy Schumer and Blake had an off-mic exchange regarding the lawsuit. Suddenly, tabloids and YouTube commentators went wild, suggesting the couple was using the SNL stage to shape public opinion. CANDACE Owens then chimed in again, criticizing them for treating a serious legal matter as fodder for a cheap laugh. Complicating matters, some critics noted that the SNL cameo might contradict Blake's portrayal of herself as a victim. How seriously should the public take her claims of emotional distress if she's giggling on a comedy show about rumors swirling around her? The debate raged on social media, creating a frenzy that overshadowed the actual legal issues at stake. Even some of Blake's fans admitted the timing felt off. In the end, the SNL debacle added another layer of controversy to an already tangled story. In our digital age, public opinion can pivot in an instant, especially when viral hashtags start circling. As Candace Owens' criticism of Blake's lawsuit picked up steam, many social media users began pointing out glaring inconsistencies in Blake's story. Screenshots of alleged text messages were posted, timeline charts were drawn up, and fans turned amateur detectives started to piece together what they saw as a pattern of contradictions. This wave of doubt gained traction with each new reveal. People asked, if Blake Lively felt so threatened, why did she, at times, appear to invite Baldoni into situations that she later described as uncomfortable? Did certain behind-the-scenes anecdotes simply not align with call sheet data? The swirl of online speculation was dizzying. Suddenly, you had entire Twitter threads devoted to debunking parts of Blake's complaint. Alleged production notes suggested she had access to an intimacy coordinator, despite her claims she was denied one. Some former cast or crew members insisted the environment wasn't nearly as hostile as Blake made it out to be. While none of this served as absolute proof, social media rarely provides definitive conclusions. It did create a tidal wave of scrutiny. Candace Owens fanned these flames by highlighting comments from supposed insiders who disputed Blake's narrative. She pressed that these weren't minor oversights. According to Owens, they pointed to a deliberate attempt by Lively to manipulate public perception. The hashtag Blake Lively Lies started trending, and threads titled "Exposing Blake Lively's Fabrications" popped up on multiple platforms, infuriating Blake's devoted fans. Behind the glitz and glamour, Hollywood is a business that places a premium on reputation. Blake Lively cultivated a polished image, seen as a fashion icon, a social advocate, and part of one of Tinseltown's most beloved power couples. Now, that image is under attack, with critics questioning her honesty. Studios and brands watch controversies like hawks. They want to know if a star's drama will overshadow a potential project. If Blake doesn't restore public confidence soon, she might find major offers drying up. The conversation is shifting among industry power players. Is her involvement worth the potential PR headache? Could a studio bank on her name if every public appearance is overshadowed by questions about the lawsuit? Advertising partners and red carpet invitations also hinge on an actor's public perception, which can shift quickly. That being said, the entertainment industry is also remarkably resilient when it comes to comebacks. The real question is whether Blake can pivot her narrative. Apologies and clarifications could help, but only if the audience believes she's genuine. If Candace Owens and other outspoken critics continue poking holes in her story, any attempt by Blake to reclaim the moral high ground might be doomed. For Justin Baldoni, the stakes are also high. Although he hasn't faced the same level of public suspicion, extended legal drama can take its toll. If he's forced to constantly defend himself against new allegations, he could find his career momentum stalled. But so far, the judge's skepticism about certain parts of Blake's complaint seems to work in his favor. If the court eventually dismisses most of her claims, Baldoni might walk away with his reputation intact, while Blake could find it exponentially harder to rebuild hers. A particularly sticky aspect of this entire saga is the accusation that Blake's team has been using the media to shape the narrative. Both mainstream outlets and online gossip channels reportedly received exclusive tips about upcoming legal moves before official court documents were filed. Candace Owens has been relentless on this point, insisting that Blake's PR machine is more focused on controlling headlines than winning in court. Of course, Blake's supporters argue the opposite. Baldoni's side might be leaking details to bloggers who support him, and Candace Owens might be taking advantage of the spotlight. After all, every social media influencer or commentator benefits from attention when they wade into a major celebrity scandal. Ultimately, this back and forth leaves the public stuck in a guessing game, witnessing a courageous actress shining a light on unspoken ills, or a calculated PR offensive designed to bury an opponent in accusations before the truth emerges in court. Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in the middle. But finding that middle ground has become increasingly difficult in an environment where every news might be swayed by a hidden agenda. With each passing day, Blake Lively's reputation hangs in the balance, along with the trust of fans who once considered her an emblem of Hollywood grace. Justin Baldoni could be in for a rocky road if any of Blake's allegations ultimately prove legit. Even Candace Owens, who has inserted herself squarely in the middle of this fight, may face backlash if her bold claims about Lively don't hold up. And Ryan Reynolds, who may have thought a cheeky SNL joke would be harmless, yet now finds himself criticized for making light of the whole ordeal. A major hearing is expected soon, and it could be the tipping point. Will the judge dismiss the bulk of Blake's lawsuit, or will fresh evidence come to light that vindicates her stance? Reputations can be lost or won in a heartbeat, often hinging on a single piece of evidence or a single public statement. Whatever the outcome, it's clear that the drama is far from over. While courtrooms focus on facts, Hollywood thrives on stories, and this story has already spun beyond the confines of legal briefs and motions. Fans, critics, and onlookers will continue to debate each revelation, piece together each clue, and form their own theories. Only time will tell which version of events history remembers, and whether Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and CANDACE Owens will manage to move forward with their professional and personal lives intact. So, what do you think? Has Blake Lively been exposing real issues on set? Or is Candace Owens onto something with her claims of orchestrated lies? Will Justin Baldoni clear his name, or could newly unearthed evidence put him in the hot seat? Let us know your thoughts, and stay tuned because this high-stakes legal battle has shown no signs of slowing down. The next chapter might be more shocking than any script Hollywood could come up with.